Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. For a reminder for all of us, this month we completed the month of Ramadan. What's in binding upon us is certain affairs, and from those affairs, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, is in the light of what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His book. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر. Off the wall. وثيابك فطاهر والرجس فاهجر. As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His book, يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر وثيابك فطاهر والرجس فاهجر ولا تمنن تستكثر. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His book, as He was addressing the Prophet ﷺ in this ayah, in the ayah it says, Surah Al-Muddathir, the Mawdu' al-Shar, the point of reference in the ayah is where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His book, وَلَا تَمْنُن تَسْتَكْثِرْ. Where Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in His book, don't think you're doing a favor for Allah. Don't think you're doing Allah a favor. Do not think you're doing Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala a favor by all the righteous actions that you accumulate and that you put forth of ijtihad, of put forth, or your utmost effort of diligence in those righteous actions that you do, and then in the end, you think you've done Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala a favor. And also from the meaning of the ayah, لا تفخر, do not brag, and do not boast, ولا يصاب بالعجب. That's another meaning of the ayah. And do not let yourself be afflicted with being amazed at yourself. Do not let yourself be afflicted with that ujub, with being amazed at yourself. Meaning, I've done all these aspects of worship. I've given in sadaqah. I've done all this righteousness. I've finished the Quran in this month. I've also fasted those days, and I've completed the month. And I stood at night for all those long periods of time during the night, or those long hours in the night. And then in the end, a person is afflicted with that ujub. He's afflicted with being amazed at himself. For that reason, you see in the ayah, ma'ashal ikhwah, Allah Ta'ala prohibited this. Don't think by those actions that you have accumulated and those righteous actions that you have performed, that now you can start boasting and bragging and think you did a favor upon Allah, or you did Allah Ta'ala a favor. For all those different types of actions of righteousness, and we know that righteous actions, ya ma'ashal ikhwah, is not from ourselves. It's from the tawfiq of Allah Ta'ala. It's the law that He gives you the tawfiq. He gives you the success and put it in your heart to want to go out and commit and do those righteous actions. So those righteous actions is also from Allah. As Allah Ta'ala says in this book, وَمَا As Allah Ta'ala says in this book, وَمَا عِنْدَكَ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. For that which you have, or those bounties and those blessings that you have, know that all of it is from Allah. And from those bounties and blessings that Allah gives you tawfiq to perform righteous actions, it's also from Allah Ta'ala. Because we know there are people out there who are not practicing their religion. Or they are practicing their religion in the month of Ramadan, and then after the month they go back and return it to which they used to do. And we talked about in the first khutbah about a couple of hours ago, that's from the sign of al-khayb al-khusran. That is from the sign of one's destruction, that He did not give them tawfiq. And we said the example of that is the person that builds a huge building, and then he comes at the end as soon as he finishes it and knocks it down. So far, it's incumbent upon us in this month to realize that Allah Ta'ala has given us the tawfiq to perform that greatest aspect of worship, or from the greatest aspect of worship with siyam, which is from a pillar of our religion. So a person knows that is from Allah. That which you perform of righteous actions in this month is from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you know that what you have done of righteous actions is from Allah, then this will also put in your heart to be a humble individual, because you know it's not from yourself. It's from Allah inspiring you to go out and do that righteousness. It's tawfiq from Allah. And it makes you a humble individual. And no matter what we have of a ni'mah, whether it be from the worldly matters of a car or a house, or no matter what it is, all of it is from Allah. And when we say it's from Allah, meaning that Allah gave you tawfiq to get up in the morning and to put it in your body and to give you that strength to go out and actually work diligently in order to acquire that. So all of it is from Him Ta'ala, so you can keep yourself humble and you don't start looking down upon people. And you start thinking that you're somebody. Rather, it keeps you humble, realizing that everything I have of intelligence, or whether I have that diligence and hard work, all of it is from Him Ta'ala. So that's one aspect what's incumbent upon us in this month. Also, it's incumbent upon us, secondly, in this month, as we talked about also likewise a couple of hours ago, that no matter what we do of righteous actions, all those righteous actions, ya ma'ashal ikhwah, in compensation to what Allah is going to give us of eternal bliss in the hereafter, our actions do not weigh out anything. That's another thing that keeps us humble. We talked about the hadith on Utbah ibn Abd al-Sulami, and the hadith likewise Sahahu al-Imam al-Albani, where he said, لو أن رجلا يجر على وجهه إلى يوم ولد إلى يوم أن يموت هرما يوم في مرضات الله تبارك وتعالى لحقره يوم القيامة. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where if a man was dragged on his face since the day he was born, all the way up to when he was dragged on his face to the day he dies, elderly, in seeking the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, doing it for Allah Ta'ala, he will come on the day of resurrection and find that to be something little. For our actions, ya ma'ashal ikhwah, in compensation for paradise, it doesn't weigh out to anything. We know the hadith of Abu Hurairah, we know the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the hadith of Aisha, the hadith of also Asad ibn Kuruz, Ibn Amr al-Bajali, where the Prophet ﷺ also said, Saddidu wa qaribu wa abshiru. واعلموا لا يدخل أحد الجنة عمله قال ولا أنت يا رسول الله قال ولا أنا إلا يتغمدني الله بفضل ورحمة. And another narration, بفضل منه وبرحمة وبفضل. That Allah, the Prophet ﷺ has said, سددوا وقاربوا وأبشروا. Do the best that you can and working diligently and hard working and attaining those righteous actions. Work very hard in doing that. Saddidu qaribu wa abshiru, and give glad tidings, and know at the end, none of you will enter paradise by your actions. None of you will be entered into paradise by his actions. And the Prophet ﷺ is talking about here. He's talking about the thaman, that our actions is not a compensation. Rather, our actions is a reason for us entering paradise. But it's not a fair exchange that you give to your Lord, tabaraka wa ta'ala, even though we've been commanded to do righteous actions. And that it shows what's truly in your heart is your righteous actions. And that is from faith. And it is not for anyone to go around and say that Islam is here and he's not doing anything. As we said, that's the aqeedah of the Murji'ah. That they say that actions is not from Iman. Rather, actions is from Iman. And it truly shows and reflects what's in your heart. To carry out those actions of obedience to Allah Ta'ala and staying away where He prohibited reflects what's in your heart truly. As we know, the Prophet ﷺ said, none of you will enter paradise by your actions. And it's not even you, O Messenger of Allah, not even me, except that Allah covers me up in His mercy, likewise in His blessing. Meaning of the hadith is that al-a'mal sababun li dukhul al-jannah wa laysa bi thaman. That paradise, or our actions, is a reason for us entering paradise. And it is not a fair exchange or a compensation. How do you think in your mind that you think that what you do of worship for Allah, even from the time you were young, all the way up to the time maybe you were 100 years old, let's just even say you are 120, how do you think that your actions is going to be a compensation for eternal bliss? How can you think your actions is going to be a compensation for absolute eternal enjoyment and bliss in the hereafter? That's a fair exchange. And some of us were even upon kufr in some of our life. Some of us for a period of time was upon kufr. And we didn't accept Islam until later on in our life. And some people even died. And when they was on their deathbed, they accepted Islam. Do you think that now, as a result of that, a person dying on his deathbed, and he accepted Islam, and he didn't pray one rak'ah, that as a fair exchange, he's going to give and get and receive that which is of eternal bliss? It's a fair exchange? La wallah. It's not a fair exchange. Rather, the entering of paradise is mahd rahmatillah. It's all of it is the mere mercy of Allah Ta'ala. So that's number one is, it's incumbent upon us not to think we're doing Allah a favor. Number two, our actions to keep ourselves humble. Know that our actions are worthless, even though we are commanded to do it. And to work hard and strive hard and to try to be complete to the best of our ability as far as being human beings. As far as carrying out the obligations of our salawat and doing the sunan and siyam and fasting and giving sadaqah and smiling your brother's face and being truthful to people. We've been commanded to do all that because it's the reason for us entering paradise. Because the ayah of Allah Ta'ala where He says in His book, تِلْكُمُ الْجَنَّةُ الَّتِي أُرِثْتُمُوهَا بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. That ayah is to show that actions is from faith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, He says that is the gardens which you have inherited because of what you used to do. So the actions is a reason, and it's not a what? It's not the price and the compensation for paradise. In order to keep ourselves humble, so we won't become arrogant and amazed at ourselves. Number three, also what's incumbent upon us in this last part of this month, is to also realize that one has to stay upon steadfastness even after the month of Ramadan. As after the month of Ramadan, and we said that the acceptance of the actions after the month of Ramadan, from the signs of it is that one stays upon steadfastness after the month. And that shows that your actions were accepted. That your state of your religion, I see your dunya, your state of your religion improves. The state of your religion. And we didn't just say that the meaning of the religion is just mere righteous actions such as the salawat and just as paying the sadaqat or the zakat and things of that nature. That's just a part of it. Also likewise, staying firm upon the sunnah and staying away from bid'ah innovations in His people is also likewise giving tawfiq in your religion. And staying away from those deviant sects is also being given tawfiq in your religion. So it's not just righteous actions and that's it. That's a part of it. Also on top of that, and one staying firm upon the sunnah and staying far away from the people of innovations is also a sign that your religion's improved. That's a state and show that your condition of your religion is improved. So that is to show that the actions that you put forth of the sadaqat and giving, the charity during this month, and all those different types of righteous actions and various types of righteous actions that one did in this month, that's been accepted by Allah. Because if Allah does not accept what we have done, then what we did in this month is meaningless. And that's the reason why you find that the Salaf, that they had that utmost importance, or they gave that utmost importance of asking Allah to accept it. And how they used to care about that, then the action itself. They used to do the action. And then they will wonder whether or not Allah accepted it. Did He accept from me that action? Or is it going to be thrown back at my face on the day of resurrection? As we said from the athar of the Salaf, was on the authority of Abdul-Aziz ibn al-Rawad. They said, أدركتهم يجتهدون في العمل الصالح. يجتهدون في العمل الصالح. فإذا انتهى وقع عليهم الهم أن يقبل منه أم لا. وليسوا وقعوا في المعاصي. From the athar of that which Abdul-Aziz ibn al-Rawad, that he said that after the month of Ramadan, he said that the Salaf, he says أدركتهم فكانوا يجتهدون في العمل الصالح. He says, I've reached the righteous people, meaning the people of the Sunnah, the people who are upon the minhaj al-Salafi, the minhaj in which the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ was upon. And we're not talking about the people of innovations and the people of bid'ah and the people of desires. We're talking about those who follow and tread the path and traverse the path of which the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were upon in understanding the religion of al-Islam. He says, I reached those people. And he said that they were hard working, striving in order to do righteous actions. He says, and when they finished, he said, sadness would overtake them. Sadness will overtake them. Was my action accepted or not? Was my action accepted or not? And they will not fall into evilness and wickedness and evil after the month of Ramadan, being negligent in their duties and going back to that which they used to do if they would do it. But we knew that the Salaf were far away from all of that which is displeasing to Allah, whether it be sins or bid'ah or shirk, all of it. They were the most furthest away people of that, while we do it every day. For that reason, we say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that's also an affair that's binding upon us. To also look to the state of our religion after the month of Ramadan, and to also ask Allah to accept it. And from the ways of accepting it is for a person to have taqwa after the month of Ramadan. Because the ayah of the book of Allah says, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. As Allah says also in His book, وَاتْلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ بَنِي آدَمَ إِذْ قَرَّبَ قُرْبَانًا فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا فَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ قَالَ لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ قَالَ إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ لَئِنْ بَسَطْتَ إِلَيَّ يَدَكَ لِتَقْتُلَنِي مَا أَنَا بِبَاسِطٍ يَدِيَ إِلَيْكَ لِأَقْتُلَكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Surah Al-Ma'idah, where Allah says in His book, recite to them the story of what happened with the two sons of Adam, Habil wa Qabil, as the ulama mentioned in the tafsir. He says when they put forth both of them a sacrifice, and it was accepted from one of them and it was not accepted from the other. As the ulama tafsir, as they said the meaning of the ayah, what happened with Habil? Habil, he was a shepherd, he used to watch, or he was a shepherd over his flock. He was a sahib al-ghanam. He used to watch his flock. And he used to watch those sheep, and he used to mind them and look over them until they became from the most, now listen to the story, the most beloved of what he possessed. And to the point he used to carry some of it on his shoulders, and he used to go to it at night, meaning that that which he possessed was the most beloved of what he had and the most valuable. So listen to number one. He had that what he possessed, which was the most valuable. Then his brother Qabil was a sahib al-zar'. He was a person of agriculture. He used to work in a plantation where he used to grow crops and vegetables and agriculture and things of that nature. And that which he possessed also likewise was valuable to him. But also, he had some of that which the lowest of what he detested from that. And they were tested by what they possessed. Number one, what they possessed, Allah Ta'ala says, put forth a sacrifice. Allah wanted to test them to see what they were going to put forth of that which they loved the most. That's number one. Are they going to give to what is the most valuable to them? What they don't want to give away. What they do not want to give away. Because that's where the test belies. Not getting rid of something that was sitting in my closet for 2 years and collecting some dust. Give it to the master, get it out my face. La. He said the most valuable of what they possessed. And during the times of Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'di, Shaykh Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'di, al-Mufassir al-Imam, as he says in the tafsir, he said that during that time, Allah Ta'ala would send a fire down. And that fire would eat up, which was eat up that sacrifice, which was an indication to show that Allah accepted the action. So Habil put forth that sacrifice, number one, of the most beloved of what he had. Not only that, also like, and it says in the tafsir, طَيِّبَةً بِهِ نَفْسُهُ, that he did not feel any anguishment in his heart when he gave it. He knew what he was doing was for the pleasure of Allah. He didn't feel anything in his heart. Any rancor, oh, I got to give my stuff away, or stuff for Allah, and I don't feel like doing this. You don't know how hard I work for this, and I got to give it away for Allah. La. Habil says he gave the best of what he had, and his self was enjoyment at ease of what he was doing. The second with Qabil, he gave the most despicable of what he had, and the most lowest. And off that, he felt some type of anguishment in his heart when he what? When he gave it as a sacrifice. So it was accepted in the end from who? Habil. And the fire did not eat up that which was a Qabil, which came as a result of it, which was jealousy and envy to his brother to the point he wanted to kill him. Which is also to show the dangers of what? Jealousy and envy. Which is also despicable sin. But the point is, as Habil, when he was threatened by his own brother, he says, verily Allah Ta'ala only accepts from those who are muttaqeen. He only accepts those righteous actions from those who have what? Who stays upon firmness and steadfastness all the year. Not just in Ramadan, all throughout the year. Staying firm and steadfast upon uprightness in the month of Ramadan and outside the month of Ramadan. That's who Allah accepts it from. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. As it was narrated upon some of the Salaf, he said ليت الشعري لو علمنا من هو المقبول فنهنئه وَمَنْ هَذَا الْمَحْرُومُ فَنُعَزِّيهِ. It was narrated upon the Salaf as Ibn Rajab mentioned in Lata'if al-Ma'arif. He says, if I would only know, or if I would have knew, the one whose action has been accepted from this month, so we can congratulate him. And the one who's been deprived of forgiveness of Allah and being free from hell, so I can give him his condolences. Meaning that he's truly been what? Deprived, and he's truly been as if he's dead. For nu'azzi, we give him his condolences. And this is how the Salaf were, and caring about their actions being accepted by Allah. As it was also narrated, it says, كُونُوا لِقَبُولِ الْعَمَلِ أَشَّدْ اهْتِمَامًا بِالْعَمَلِ. He says, be for the acceptance of those actions, caring about that, and giving that more emphasis. He says, and then the action being itself Do the righteous action. As the Prophet ﷺ said, he says, "i'malu," as one of the Sahaba had asked the Messenger of Allah, أَفَلَا نَتَّكِئُ يعني على القدر يا رسول الله قال لا اعملوا فإن كلا ميسر لما خلق له. As this is not a discouragement, rather is the Prophet ﷺ encouraging. He said, it's not from amongst you except that his actions have been written, whether he'll be from those who are righteous or wretched. O Messenger of Allah, do we recline on the qadr? He said, no. He says, do righteous actions. Be diligent in it. Work hard for it. Strive in trying to be an upright individual. For verily, it will be facilitated for him what he was created for. And notice that the Salaf, one of them, he says, be caring about the action of it being accepted, then other than what? Than the action itself. Do the action, then hope that Allah Ta'ala accepts it. And be in that fear, in that state that Allah might not accept it. But at the same time, we said that from the signs of it is that one stays upon steadfastness of rightness all throughout the year. And that's also from the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. As the hadith of Hind, alhamdulillah, the hadith of Hind ibn Abi Umayyah, binti Abi Umayyah. And who is that? Who is Hind? Salama, radiyallahu anha wa ardaha. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, wa also Imam al-Albani corrected to be Hasan, where he said, the Prophet ﷺ makes to make this dua, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an, wa rizqan tayyiba, wa amalan mutaqabbala. Oh Allah, and he said, excuse me, it says in the back, if you go back to the narration a little bit, it says, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا صلى الصبح كان يدعو بهذا الدعاء اللهم أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. And there's another narration that says, ورزقا واسعا. Well, now narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, oh Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge and wholesome halal sustenance. Wholesome, lawful sustenance. Not sustenance that came from you selling cigarettes to the kuffar, and you selling intoxicants to the kuffar, and you selling drugs to the kuffar, and you selling music to the kuffar, and selling it to the Muslims. That's not wholesome sustenance. That's disgusting sustenance. Which as a result of it, Allah won't accept your dua. Because that's from the shurut of dua. Inna Allah tayyib wa la yaqbalu illa tayyib. For verily Allah is tayyib, He's wholesome, and He will not accept that which is what? Wholesome. From the conditions, the prerequisite of your dua being accepted, أطعب مطعمك وشرابك وملبسك, because it says in the narration, the person, that the man, he says, ثم ذكر رجلا أشعث أغبر يمد يديه إلى السماء يا ربي يا ربي فمطعمه حرام ملبسه حرام مشربه حرام وغذي بالحرام فأنا يستجاب له وفي رواية فأنا يستجاب لذلك. The Prophet ﷺ also said that he's mentioned a man that he said that his travels was long and that his hair was in disarray. And he's opened his arms up to the heavens. He stretched out dua. And then it was said, oh my Lord, that which he eats from is haram. His sustenance is haram. What he drinks from is haram. What he's been eating with is haram. And he's been clothed with the haram. And he's been given that which is nutrients of haram. How can his dua be answered? For also, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, the Prophet ﷺ will ask this. I ask you for that which is of the ilm nafi'an. I ask for beneficial knowledge. Increase me in that. I ask you for also wholesome sustenance. That's from halal means. And also actions to be accepted. So you see, this is dua even the Prophet ﷺ used to make it in the morning. Which is to show that the Salaf used to have that, give that utmost importance. So for their actions being accepted. And also likewise Ibrahim alayhi salam had mentioned in the ayah, where Allah Ta'ala says upon the tongue of Ibrahim, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Oh Allah, accept it from us. Very you are Sami'ul Alim. That's all to show, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, is binding upon us to have that fear of Allah and to keep ourselves humble people. And we're not like the Jews and the Christians that say we're guaranteed paradise. Rather, we're a middle course ummah. We're not too far to the left, nor we're too far to the right. We hope for the mercy of Allah, and we're afraid for our sins. That's how we are. And we're a middle course ummah, moderate in all of our affairs. In the affairs of our i'tiqad, As Shaykh al-Islam laid down in his book Aqidat al-Wasitiyah, that Ahl Sunnah is in the middle course for all those deviant sects where they deviated. They went too extreme in something. Either going too far to the left or too far to the right. Ahl Sunnah is in the middle because they're moderate. They're moderate in their i'tiqad and they're moderate in their actions. And that's what makes them Ahl al-Haq. So these affairs is binding upon us in this month, and also to end it off with istighfar. For istighfar, and also likewise the ayah where Allah Ta'ala says his book is Surah Al-Mu'minun, and we say it's Surah Al-Mu'minun, not Surah Al-Mu'mineen, Surah Al-Mu'minun, because it's marfu' al-hikayah. Talk about that later. When that was the ayah where Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says, الَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ وَجِلَةٌ أَنَّهُمْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. As Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says, those who give out of what they've been given, and their hearts are shivering and quivering in fear that to their Lord they're returning. He said, they are those who hasten towards doing righteous actions. How many ayahs did Allah Ta'ala mention righteous actions? Too many to be accounted and enumerated, to let us know that actions is from faith. He said, they are those who hasten towards good righteousness and good actions and righteous actions. And they try to compete in it. وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. Compete in doing righteousness. And then Aisha was asked, O Messenger of Allah, هَلْ هُوَ الَّذِي يَسْرِقْ وَيَزْنِي وَيَشْرَبُ الْخَمْرِ قَالَ يَا لَا بنت الصديق يا بنت أبي بكر يا بنت الصديق هم الذين يصلون ويصومون ويتصدقون ويخشون أن لا يتقبل منهم. That says that the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, O Messenger of Allah, is the people who used to steal, the people who used to commit zina, or the people that used to drink khamr, drink intoxicants. He said, no. Ya bint al-Siddiq, ya bint Abi Bakr, ya bint al-Siddiq. He said, they are those that pray, fast, and they give sadaqah, and they have that fear that Allah will not accept it from them. And the last thing, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is binding upon us, is to make istighfar in this last part of this month. As we know that every aspect of worship, whether it be from Hajj, or whether it be from praying, as soon as we pray out, as soon as we salam out in the salat, what do we say? Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Why? Not knowing that I came up short. Maybe while my salat, my mind wandered. Not fulfilling what I was supposed to do with that obligation. I came up short. Maybe I didn't make that tuma'nina or that type of tranquility I was supposed to have. Something of discrepancy might have crept in my prayer. And you follow it up by istighfar. In order to make, maybe Allah will rectify that action and patch it up from all the discrepancies that might have fell into that righteous action. And even during Hajj, likewise. You'll find that after performing the aspects of Hajj, also you follow up with istighfar. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And likewise, it's binding upon us after this month of Ramadan to also seek the forgiveness of Allah by making and performing an abundance of istighfar. That's also binding upon us. After this tremendous aspect of worship and this tremendous pillar that we performed, that we also make istighfar to Allah Ta'ala. And this, inshallah, will be from the tawfiq that Allah gives us in order for our actions to be accepted from Him. And to also, like we said, look to a state of our religion after the month of Ramadan. And we said that we don't look to the dunya. As we talked about on many occasions, saying that the dunya is given to people who Allah loves and people who Allah hates and despises. He who Allah Ta'ala hates, we stick to the al-fadh of the salaf. Who Allah Ta'ala hates. Who Allah Ta'ala's angers upon. He gives the dunya to whom He loves and who He does not love. Who He hates. Ta'ala. But however, He only gives the deen, the religion, to whom He loves. Ta'ala. And when we say deen, we mean people who are upon the monotheism of Allah, they're far away from shirk, and the people upon the sunnah are far away from bid'ah, staying away from shirk and its people, because that's the meaning of Islam when you say you're Muslim. When you say you're Muslim, the meaning of it is not peace. There's a lot of people say Islam means peace, or Muslim means peace. No, that's what it necessitates, but that's not the meaning of it. The meaning of it is al-istislamu lillahi bit-tawheed, wal-inqiyadu lahu bit-ta'ah, وإيش وبراءة والبراءة من الشرك وأهله. To submit yourself to Allah, to submit yourself to Allah by obeying Him is the meaning of being Muslim. Submit yourself to Allah by doing those actions, by you singling out Him ta'ala in worship, because you're doing it out of worship. You're obeying Him out of worship. Singling out Him in His worship by obeying Him. It's Islam lillahi bi tawheed, surrendering yourself for Allah. And to bow and put yourself down in front of Him ta'ala. And to free yourself from shirk in His people. And also likewise, Allah given the deen is also to what? Those likewise who are firm upon the sunnah and they're far away from bid'ah in His people. That's also who Allah giving your deen to. And also likewise, staying away from those major sins. Also likewise, but even the same major sins is binding upon us to stay away from, because it is baridatul kufr, as the ulama mentioned. Stay away from sins because it can lead you down the road of kufr if one is not careful. So the person who's Sunni, Salafi, stays away from all those affairs. Shirk and his people, bid'ah and his people, people of Hizbis, they stay away from Sufis, you name them, Ikhwanis, Asharis, Ahmadiyya, you name them, you stay away from them. Except Ahlul Sunnah wa Ahlul Haqq. Those who are trying to put forth and do the best they can to be that which is of the Sahaba were upon and to tread upon that path. Those are the people who are truly the awliya of Allah ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت واستغفرك وأتوب إليك. تفضل رفيق.